If you shower or brush your teeth or try to make your hair look presentable, here's some good news. Dollar Shave Club has a lot of stuff to help you out. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, hair gel, even a wipe that leaves your tush feeling tingly clean. All of Dollar Shave Club's products are made with top-shelf ingredients that won't break your budget. You'll feel the difference. Plus, shipping is free with your membership. And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products for just $5. You can get their Daily Essential Starter Set. It comes with Body Cleanser, One Wipe Charlie's, their amazing butt wipes, and their world-famous shave butter. And their best razor, the 6-Blade Executive. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month and add in a shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Chad.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
October's job report is much better than expected. The economy added 250,000 jobs in October, a rebound from what we saw in September. This was better than economists expected. The unemployment rate is unchanged at 3.7%.
Jobs, 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 economy, jobs, 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 economy, jobs, jobs, jobs. Tuesday is the midterms, and the Republicans have ignored the opportunity to talk about jobs, to talk about the economy, to talk about any of the things that you think you would talk about. And the reason is simple. There is no emotion. While we appreciate it, right, we blame you if the economy is going to hell, and usually because you have a real issue, because the government gets involved in a way in the economy, whether it's restrictions or overregulation or overtaxation or whatever it is, that slows the economy down, or bad, just the usual bad governing of the way that things are done. But the reality is when you get out of the way, it's the American people that are the ones who are doing these things. So there's no emotion there. Where is there emotion, kids?
Anybody throwing stones, rocks, like they did to Mexico and the Mexican military, Mexican police, where they badly hurt police and soldiers of Mexico, we will consider that a firearm because there's not much difference. We will consider that the maximum that we can consider that because they're throwing rocks viciously and violently, really hurting the military. We're not going to put up with that. They want to throw rocks at our military fights back. We're going to consider it. I told them, consider it a rifle. When they throw rocks like they did at the Mexico military and police, I say, consider it a rifle.
Asinine and stupid to say. I'm going to say that right now. Stupid. Stupid thing to say. Ridiculous. Emotions. Emotions are going to get you to the polls. Desperation is what they're looking for. I don't know what Tuesday is going to look like. I don't. Florida's a tight race here and there, and they look around, and I don't know. But then you look at the ballots mailed back. The polls might be there, but the ballots, there's a huge difference in ballots. Arizona, the same way. But the House is the thing that everybody's looking at, right? Are they going to lose 30? Are they going to lose 40? Are they going to lose 20? Right? I think if they lose 20, they're still, hey, look at this. We lost 20. I think they've lose 23 or 24. And they would be okay. I don't know what it's going to look like. But what I do know is the American people look at the economy and think to themselves, we're going to blame you if it's going to hell in a handbasket. And we can look at Trump and say it's on fire, and some of that is your doing. And the reason it's your doing is because your taxes, right, it's only going to the 1%. Yeah. Look, I would have liked to seen a few different things in there, but the reality is the tax cuts helped. Deregulations, and we over-regulated things. We're now trying to get back to some balance and normalcy with regulation. So that's getting out of the way, which needed to be done, which set the economy on its way. But it's not going to get people to the polls. It's not. Now, I would have run on, for me, look how great it's doing. If we're trying to evoke emotion, let's flash forward 2 years, and the Dems are basically stonewalling us at every move, much like the Republicans did to Obama. And at that point in time, the economy's taken a dumper. The stock market's in the dumper. You guys, they've tried to just come after everything, and they've done this entire thing and made the entire thing just untenable here. Do you want that? But that's not enough. So what do? It's those people that are coming. Those people that are coming, they're all evil. They're all bad. No, that's not true. Most of them are decent people who are just looking for an opportunity out of desperation. Are all of them coming here because they need asylum because they're afraid they're going to get murdered? No, they're not. Are all of them mothers and children? No, they're not. In fact, if you look at the data, and it's probably 60, 40, 70, 30, depending on who you're looking at, whoever's coming out the data. So just to say that they're all mothers and not monsters is, that right there is the way that they're pointing things out to you on the establishment media. It's like, hey, everybody coming here is just a mom. It's like, slow your roll there. Slow. I have eyes too, right? Even if I don't know what the statistical data is, and I'm just taking a quick whip around with my eyes in the people that I see a lot of 18 to 30-year-old males that, unless they're identifying as mothers, and maybe that's how they're rolling with this one, that maybe, just maybe, not everybody's a single mom coming here. But are they all criminals? No. But it's about evoking emotion, right? And that's exactly what this is about. And Trump came out yesterday. His whole thing is, look, asylum. Hey, there's some things asylum are for. And guess what? One of them's not.
Asylum is not a program for those living in poverty. There are billions of people in the world living at the poverty level. The United States cannot possibly absorb them all.
No, we can't. And you know what's so frustrating as I sit here and I watch this thing break down? I look around and I say, the left's out there saying, how these people they should be, we should cheer them on. We should be all of these things. And it's amazing to watch the media just fawn over all of these people. And I can have empathy for these people. I'm not a disgusting, vile human being. And I'm the one sitting here saying they're not all criminals. And a lot of this rhetoric that he's spewing out there is just to evoke emotion out of you. But here's what I can tell everybody on the left. It's still wrong that you have a caravan of 1,700 to 4,000 or 5,000 with a few more caravans behind it, numbering from 500 to another 1,000 coming this way. And you act like it's no big deal. Well, as an American citizen and as a taxpayer, I find this to be ridiculous, especially when you look around the country and you find out that we can't even take care of in big cities, places like Los Angeles and Orange County, California, where you have hundreds and thousands of homeless people to the tune of about 35,000 plus in L.A. County. God knows how many in Orange County. And then you can look elsewhere. I'm just picking two very decently sized metropolitan areas that we can't even sort out. And you ignore these things as the dirty little secret, all the while saying, you can do it because you want Trump to look bad. It's ridiculous. It is. Look, as a person here who understands that we are a nation of immigrants, we also have a nation of laws. While I don't like the rhetoric of let's treat that as those rocks as rifles is absolutely asinine and irresponsible to say, can we not all agree that, hey, we just can't have, 5,000 people just wander on up? I was talking to somebody last night who got very angry. He's tweeting at me. He's getting very angry over the fact that, well, what about Cubans? And I'm like, look, let's deal with the real and the now, right? Cuba, there was a reason, right? Communist nations, there was a reason that we were doing what we're doing. And by the way, Obama ended wet foot, dry foot, right? So let's not talk about that, right? Let's talk, well, it's the brown people. You're afraid of the brown people and you're afraid of anybody of color and white people. And I'm just like, let's not make this about race. Let's make this about right or wrong. If there was 5,000 Canadians coming here like this, I would ask the question the same way. Is this right? No, it's not. It's not. It's not right. At some point in time, somebody's got to stand up and say, all right, here's the deal. This isn't right. Right? This is not good. And to just, we've got to be adults in the room and say, all right. You know what? Yeah, maybe, just maybe both sides can go, we should not allow this to happen. We should not. Do I want a tent city? Because I think that's what we're going to be getting. We're going to be getting tent cities. Are you guys ready for that? Because this whole thing about asylum and what he's serious about this, by the way. He's serious. And anything that anybody should know about Trump, when he sets his mind to something, this is exactly what he's serious about doing, ending asylum. They've already started to sue. This is the other thing that pisses people off, and I don't think people understand this. People that are not in the country already are already suing our country because they want the opportunity to apply for asylum, which is fine. Apply for asylum. But how do we go about vetting all of these things? How do we know for sure? There's a lot of questions. But seeing the caravan come here and both sides yell at each other over the caravan as if they're playing tennis, all the while the caravan is moving here and nobody seems to want to do a damn thing.
My administration is finalizing a plan to end the rampant abuse of our asylum system. It's abused to halt the dangerous influx and to establish control over America's sovereign borders. We've got borders. And once that control is set and standardized and made very strong, including the building of the wall, which we've already started. $1.6 billion spent last year, $1.6 billion this year. We have another $1.6 that will be coming, but we want to build it at one time. All it does is turn people in a different direction. Under this plan, the illegal aliens will no longer get a free pass into our country.
He's serious. And I think people, it's funny. People keep testing him when it comes to this stuff. Is he serious? Oh, he's serious. He's serious as a heart attack. He is. But how about the left and the right stand up for a second and say, look, you know what, we can have empathy too, but there's also a right way to do things. And if we're just going to, what if one day everybody in Honduras, some, God knows how many people said that, we're just deciding we're going to come here and we all want asylum because of how bad it is here. Where does it end is my question. And how do we do it right? Nobody seems to have any idea. I don't agree with the way that Trump handles things at times, and I think the rocks versus rifles thing is absolutely ridiculous and a dumbass thing to say. But I don't see anybody else taking anything on and any responsibility in any of this. And that's the joke. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Lie after lie, broken promise after broken promise. That's what he did. Unlike President Obama, we live by a different motto. It's called promises made, promises kept.
Woo! You lie too. Isn't it funny? Here's what I was asking somebody today, and they was like, that's a really good question, because I can't stand Trump. And I asked him, I said, now, there's lies and there's promises. And there's like, okay. And I said, well, politicians, they make promises they know they can't keep, and we don't really hold them to the same thing. Right? We rarely say you lie. Trump makes promises that he keeps, but he lies about all this other crap. It's like, oh, yeah. I never thought of that. I said, yeah. Michael Cohen's coming out now saying all kinds of things, like he said that black people are too stupid to vote for me. And that's hard to take that guy serious based on the things that he's facing, because that's what happens when you eventually get in trouble. And that's always the worry about people who say when people are going to flip, is that when they're stool pigeons, if you will, what ends up happening is a lot of times they think that the people will just say stuff because they think that's what their handlers want to hear. And for him, there's this battle of Trump and him going back and forth And now he's saying, he said all kinds of racist things. So is it true? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I haven't heard it come out of him. I mean, remember we were going to hear, we had this tape, the N-word was there. We've had this, and it's here, it comes out, and we've all heard the tape, and da-da-da. And then here we are weeks later, months later, in some cases a year plus later, still waiting, right? If it's out there and it comes out, we deal with it. But still waiting. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Somebody just called me. First of all, I mean, I love when people call and they'll either voice text or they call. So last night, Phil, I got the great text. Somebody called me cat medicine because you were voice texting. They're listening here, cat medicine. Today, I'm Rooster Benson, and he says I make him sick because I'm not like Sean and Rush, because they're great Americans. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. God bless you. You're a great American. Would you head on down to the border, protect it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us each and every day at this time, whether it's Monday or Friday. We like to deliver to you a little something that says, hey, thank you for being you. We call this our urban word of the day.
It's time for the urban word of the day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban word of the day.
I love this. Now, there's the East Coast, West Coast version. It has nothing to do with the rivalry where we could get shot. Haunting or crumbing. Now, producer Phil, what does crumbing mean?
That's when, instead of ghosting somebody, you just give them enough crumbs that they keep coming back.
Yeah. Haunting is something similar where you ghost them, but you're not totally out of their lives. Like you'll like something on Facebook or you'll see something on Instagram and you'll comment about it, but you never really talk to them. There's just kind of shades of you around their life. Haunting or crumbing is your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
Alec Baldwin is facing a possible assault charge after police said he punched a guy who took a parking space Baldwin was trying to hold for himself. The space is right outside Baldwin's apartment in the East Village where the alleged assault occurred just before 2 p.m. Baldwin was taken to the NYPD's 6th Precinct.
He's kind of a Richard, right? Like, how many of these... Remember when Sean Penn was this way? Sean Penn would, like, fight paparazzi and stuff like that, and he kind of grew out of it. Baldwin never seems to do, ever. And as producer Anthony's from the Long Island area, and he said, yeah, those guys, that's what they're always like, hot-headed. Hot-headed. I said, yeah. He's him and his brother, very hot-headed, a few of them. And how many times do we hear about this? He just don't seem to cross his path because he's got a fuse and he's ready to go. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. I love hearing you. I wonder if there's video of it. Because there's video of everything nowadays, so why not that? Free speech isn't as free as you think. And it's dangerous at times. Doesn't that sound weird in this country that it's dangerous? But it's dangerous for a lot of reasons. Very interesting. Adam Kroll and Dennis Prager talking about free speech. Straight ahead, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
So I was explaining to the fellers earlier. I said fellers, that's what I call them. Because what else are you going to call the fellers? I said, fellers, I was in line getting my iced teas. I go in the morning, I get a couple iced teas because I got a bunch of shows I do throughout the day, and iced teas kind of keep me going. So I go next door, and I have to say, my routine's pretty simplistic. I go next door, and in front of me, there are two millennials, like mid-20s, early 20s. I mean, they're older than teenagers, but they're in their 20s, and they're two ladies talking. And I said girls earlier, and somebody's like, Dad, you didn't say girls. I'm like, what? It's not the proper pronoun? They dress like girls, but who knows? So in there, they've got the TV up. right? So it's this little cafe, and they got the TV up, and there's like Trump on. It was like the news, like the local news, but Trump's on, and you could see that, you know, he's at some sort of rally. And the girls are talking about Trump, and they're talking about the people behind Trump, you know, holding up the signs and the whole 9 yards. And the ladies all, you know, what we should do is we should find out who those people are that go to those rallies and out them and basically make sure that their work knows how bad they are and get rid of them. And that was kind of the gist of their conversation. And I thought, oh my God, that's insane. And while you think, no, that can't happen, the reality is we had a guy earlier this year at a sub sandwich shop who took a picture with Donald Trump, and he went out of business. That's the insanity of the world that we live in. And I don't like that at all. If that's what we're going to do now, where groupthink is, we're going to get to the point where we're so divided that we're going to have Republican jobs and Democrat jobs, liberal jobs and conservative jobs. That isn't really the world I think I want to live in.
Do you think that we are actually less free to say what we think now than we were, say, 20 years ago, Adam?
Well, you can say whatever you want, like you could say whatever you want 20 years ago, but you won't have a job on Monday, and that's a big issue.
Yeah, that is a big issue. And just the fact that those two were talking about, like, just being there. And I've noticed that, you know, the Democrats, here, let me ask you a question for those of you out there. What are they running on? They're running their hate of Trump and the resist movement. But what else are they running on? That they're going to be more civil? Okay. But what else are they running on? I've not heard anything. I've not. Today we've got massive job numbers. Pretty damn good. Right? And I don't know what they're running on. And in some cases, what I hear them doing is trying to shame people and, like, you know, if you vote for a Republican, you're probably a racist. You do what you want to do. So you're racist? You support Trump? I guess so, huh? That's the kind of person you are. You're racist. That's not good. That's not good. First of all, that's insane to think that if you have a different thought than anybody else on this certain echo chamber world, that somehow you're a bad person. Secondly, and I think this is vitally important, that not only should you be hammered for having a different thought, that maybe you should be punished as well.
Removing someone's livelihood because they have an opinion, it's really sort of the ultimate punishment. Like, you're just not going to be able to work anymore. You'll be non-employable, especially in this town, Los Angeles. So people fear for their jobs. They fear for their careers. They sort of fear for their families, and thus they don't say what they would say.
Yeah. And that is the reactionary situation that happened, right? Trump is a reaction to a lot of this insanity of microaggressions and all of this stuff. That is a reaction by a lot of people out there. And a lot of people out there that you know, that you think are part of your groupthink, right? That are part of your little utopia want. They're not. Now, in front of you, they clap when somebody says bad things about Trump. But inside of the voting booth is a lot of times when their free speech comes out in a way that you don't quite understand. And to think for a second of punishing people to the point where they don't have a livelihood anymore and destroying them as somehow a wonderful thing because they're not part of that is scary. And to know that there are two people saying, even if you go to Trump's rally, that you should be punished for that is scary. And there are people out there that think that.
So if I say you can do whatever you want, but if you step outside the lines, I'll crush you. I mean, is it a distinction without a difference? Do we have freedom of speech?
It's like the old dissident joke in the Soviet Union. What is the difference between the U.S. and the USSR? In the USSR, you have freedom of speech. In America, you have freedom after speech. That was the great Soviet. But now that's changed.
Yeah. And people are now looking for it. You know, sometimes people would say something stupid, or they would step over the line. And America would somewhat check them. They weren't looking for it. Now what you have are people that are actively looking for it. They're looking to destroy you. They're waiting for a slip up. They're looking for you to do something, say something, tweet something, or something they can find in your past that they can hold against you today. To the point where they don't want to see you knocked off of your high horse and then get back up. They want to see you knocked off of your high horse. Somebody shoots that high horse and then you never get to do anything ever again. And that is a scary thing. And there are ways to combat this. But here's the thing. Very few people have the cojones, especially in the business world, to take this head on.
How do the rest of us respond, particularly people who don't have TV shows or a 30-year track record of expressing their opinions? There's a normal guy with your own views because you're an American. How do you live in an age when everyone's terrified, to be honest?
I think there's only one way to do it. I think if you retreat, they encroach.
At a certain point, you cannot let the left intimidate you. When you don't, they go crazy because they're so used to being able to intimidate.
Yeah. And that's just it. And he said it. The minute you retreat, they've got you. And once they get you once, what they know is they can get you again and again. Are you going? I talked to one of the people that works for us who does, who sells for the show and everything. We were talking this week. She came out and had lunch with me. We had a very nice conversation. And I won't mention the company, but a very large company said that they're staying away from people that have made them a ton of money in the past, and they're willing to lose millions of dollars because they want to be on the right side of social media and away from backlash. They're willing to lose money, and not just thousands of dollars, hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars a quarter to be essentially free of any kind of worry. And they're not going to replace that money. They said, look, we already know we're not going to replace that money, and it's not going to help our bottom line, and nobody that we're going to end up being on, minus a few, are going to help that. And the left side of the aisle is not going to replace any of that. See, that's the funny thing with a lot of these companies. So they go after these people. And they go after these people on shows they've never heard or watched or seen, minus a few, because what happens is they monitor a bunch of these shows. They look for the microaggression that they think they can go after somebody. Then they get all of the people that never heard, watched, or bought any of those products. And that's the funny thing is the people they're saying, hey, don't buy X, Y, and Z because they're bad people. And then X, Y, and Z says, oh, my God, we got to get away from this person. And they cut ties with that person. Those people don't replace that lost revenue by going out and buying that product. Instead, what you've done is you've hurt yourself. So what do? You nut up and you say, sorry, I'm not going to do that. Now, if somebody crosses the line out of ridiculousness and full racism or, something that's just insane, that's one thing. But if it's, I said something and my perception is you hurt my feelings and there's 100 people in the room and one person's hurt and now everybody can't be around you anymore. If everybody says, yeah, screw you, guess what happens? That one person's got a choice to make. We saw it with In-N-Out Burger. About a month ago, the Democrats in California tried to get people to stop eating In-N-Out Burger because they made a donation. Now, if you know anything about In-N-Out Burger, first of all, they're yummy. Secondly, very Christian organization. If you buy an In-N-Out Burger and you look underneath at the bottom of your cup, you will see a Bible verse. And so the Democrats in California thought, oh, this is horrible. We're going to go after In-N-Out Burger. We're going to tell people to stop eating at an In-N-Out Burger. You know what people said? Yeah, you're an idiot. We're not doing that. And In-N-Out said, well, we're not going to change who we are. We also gave money to both sides of the aisle because that's what a lot of people hope they can do is, here, you take 10,000 and you take 10,000. Now, both of you guys. So what ends up happening is they said, sorry, we're not going to apologize for that. And other people are like, yeah, this is kind of stupid. Because once you get people to act once, they can do it over and over again. And they know they can. They don't care about your business. It's not about your business. They're not buying your product. They're not buying your product at all. What they are doing is hurting the host because they want to silence whoever that host is, he or she.
Once you sort of put it out there, like you're a country who doesn't negotiate with terrorists, when they take hostages, they take less hostages. Once you put it out there that, hey, I'm a comedian, I have a podcast, I say what I want, and I won't apologize, they leave you alone, because ultimately what they want is an apology, and they want you backpedaling. And if you just sort of stand up like any bully, it's not satisfying for them. I say outrageous things all day long on my podcast. People say to me, how does that work? I say, well, I don't apologize, so I'm not on their list of people who need to apologize.
You're not the slowest gazelle, so it's not even worth bothering.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the big thing, because eventually they get bored. If you go, I don't want anything to do with you, and they come back, you better, and they go, yeah, I don't want anything to do. By the third time, it's less and less. And then eventually they stop coming around. What they want is bullies pick on what? They pick on things and people that they know they can take out. A bully doesn't fight the bully, right? Meaning if there's another bad dude inside the place, at school or wherever, they're not fighting that person. They don't want to. It's the same thing as this. And the big thing is not apologizing. If you make a genuine mistake, and there's the other thing, too, that people don't talk about, is you're finding, because of the opportunities that are out there for broadcast, people like Corolla are saying, I don't want to do traditional media. I don't want to do establishment media because I can control my own livelihood here, and people can't force other people to not buy products or hurt me because I don't have anybody above me. And I think that's what you're going to find more and more of. But until big corporations, TV companies, whatever, stand up and say, you know what, we're not going to listen to you. This is ridiculous. You're only out to hurt somebody because you don't like what they think or say. Until that starts to happen on a consistent basis, they're going to continue to do this. And that's why it's scary when you talk about free speech. We have it. You have the right to say it. And they have the right to go after you. But the reality is they're not going after you because they feel that you've generally done something wrong. They don't like who you are as a human being and your belief system, and they want to destroy you. And that's scary. It's the ends justify the means for a lot, and that's not good. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So, Chad Benson loves the Butcher Box, right? So I'm getting in shape, and I'm on a new plan, and a nutritional plan that's really just designed for me. And Butcher Box is what you need. For they said, hey, you have to have grass-fed. Do you have grass-fed? I said, it's just not just grass-fed. It's the best. It's grass-fed, grass-finished, right? And their chickens, organic and free-range. They're free-ranging everywhere right now. It's amazing what Butcher Box is. And so this nutrition, all these people are looking at this like, this is the most incredible stuff we've ever seen. I said, right? It is incredible. Incredible. Cuts quality. You can't find them in stores. Competitive price. When I found out how much they were, I was like, are you kidding me? Oh, wait, this is how inexpensive this is to get a subscription? And this meat comes to you? It's less than $6 a meal? And I was talking to somebody today. They said, because I had pork chops, and said, how hard was it to cut the pork chops? Because that's kind of a good thing. I said, I did it with my fork, and it kind of fell apart. That's how easy it was. What? Yeah, Butcher Box. Less than $6 a meal. Experience for yourself. Here's what they're doing for you. You get $20 off. And they're going to throw in bacon every time you get a new order for your subscription. Oh, Chad, how do I do it? ButcherBox.com/Chad. 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 It opens up today. I'm excited to go see it. We'll talk about that straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to the Alt-Middle, where solutions live and ignorance dies. The Chad Benson Show.
So, Producer Phil, you were going to go see this movie tomorrow. I am excited about seeing it. I was going to go last night, but I worked so hard, and I've been waiting for it since I saw the first trailer for it many, many, many months ago. And a lot of people were, how is he going to look? How is he going to look? Is he going to look like him? Is he not going to look like him? The answer is he looks just like him, and it comes out today in theaters. Oh, Freddie Mercury, Bohemian Rhapsody.
No one will play us on the radio. We need to get experimental.
Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening me.
Do it again.
One more. How many more Galileos do you want?
Mark these words. No one will play Queen.
Ready, Freddie?
Oh. Yes. Bohemian Rhapsody is the name of the movie. Comes out. It did really well last night. It's on its way to probably $40 million. And the fight about this movie was supposed to be made about 4 years ago. And originally, Sacha Baron Cohen, who played Borat, was going to do it. But this is a movie about Queen, even though Freddie is a real focus. This is about all of them. And he wanted to be really about Freddie. All of it. The good, the bad, the ugly, all the way through the end, because apparently that's not part of what this is. This is really about those song-making years and Freddie and them. And some people say it doesn't paint Freddie out to be very, how should we say, he comes out of this movie, according to them, not looking great. Now, John Deacon, who was one of the members of the band, didn't want to be involved in any of this. I think he thought that Freddie doesn't really have a voice in this, and nobody else in the family did. But Rami Malek, who plays him, is great. And this was great. I was watching a kind of a making of behind the scenes, and they said they tried on like so many prosthetics to get his teeth right because he had those giant teeth, and it was crazy. He said, apparently he was born with 4 other incisors or something like that extra. But they talked about his vocal range that very few people, Pavarotti, could not do what Freddie Mercury could do. That's how insane it was. Pavarotti could not reach the falsetto or the baritone and couldn't go anywhere near the range. That's how talented he was. And he never once took a singing lesson. That's nuts. What a talent. I keep thinking to myself, man, if he'd have lived 3 years longer, he'd still be here. Meaning, if he would have got to that point where we are now with HIV and AIDS drugs, he'd still be here. And Queen would still be rocking it. We wouldn't have to watch Adam Lambert. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Was that rude? I think so. I like it, though. Makes me feel good. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This election is a choice between Republican results and radical resistance. It's a choice between greatness and gridlock. It's a choice between jobs and mobs. And it's a choice between an economy that is going strong and the Democrats who are going crazy.
Crazy! That's what this choice is. We are a few days away from that choice. And what will that choice be? Will it be jobs or mobs? It's always funny. Is that what it's going to be? Jobs or mobs? Is it going to be Democratic lunacy? Or is it going to be what we have right now? There's lunacy right now. Politics is lunacy. It's always been a bit weird. As somebody said, I was sitting there talking to somebody the other day going, because they're now kind of looking at politics when they never really did. They would look at it every 4 years. They didn't vote in the midterms, and they'd come out and they would vote for president, do that, whole dog and pony show when it happened every 4 years. And they paid more attention to this. And they're like, this is crazy. I said, look, Trump he's different, but to say this stuff hasn't gone on would be a lie. If you go back and look at all of the things that our founding fathers used to say to each other and the president fights onward and what they accused each other of, they just didn't have social media. If they had social media, it would have probably been very similar. Now, is this ratcheted up? Absolutely. But we act like it's never been here before. We act like this is totally new. Somebody asked earlier, so you can separate his craziness from his actions? I said, yeah. I said, I'm that kind of person. I can look at it. Some of the stuff I don't like he does. Some of the stuff that he doesn't say crazy things about in the actions he does, I don't like. Right? Like signing that omnibus bill that was massive and raising our debt. That to me was not something I was thrilled by. There was no craziness there. But I get frustrated. I can. Absolutely, 110%. When he comes out and says stuff like this.
Anybody throwing stones, rocks, like they did to Mexico and the Mexican military, Mexican police, where they badly hurt police and soldiers of Mexico, we will consider that a firearm because there's not much difference. We will consider that the maximum that we can consider that because they're throwing rocks viciously and violently, really hurting the military. We're not going to put up with that. They want to throw rocks at our military fights back. We're going to consider, and I told them, consider it a rifle. When they throw rocks like they did at the Mexico military and police, I say, consider it a rifle.
Now, he's saying, I don't mean shoot at them. But I'm sorry, that's what I took it as. If you're going to say something like that, of course that's what everybody's going to take it as because that's your kind of what you're alluding to. So don't blow smoke. Don't blow smoke. Period. Case closed. Don't blow smoke. It's nuts. It is. And the other thing that's crazy, especially with this, because yes, is Trump ratcheting up the fear-mongering? He is. Is it invasion? No, it's not an invasion in the formal sense of the word. What it is people are coming here and they're defying the laws of our country. They're completely disregarding our border and our sovereign land. That's kind of pisses a lot of people off. You know what? Well, Obama's sitting there today going, Trump can't get to decide who's an American citizen. Shouldn't the taxpayers, the American citizens, the residents of the country that have done this correctly, shouldn't we have some sort of say in any of this? Why all of you argue over this stuff and who said what and how much they said it? The reality is that there's a group of people that are heading here, and that's a giant mess, and nobody's done anything. And then yesterday, he tweeted out that ad that everybody's like, it's a racist ad. And he's talking about the inside of that ad, there is a guy who was a cop killer. All right? And in that ad, he talks about, you know, this whole thing about this cop killer is completely racist, and it's full of lies. And as you read it, you know what it makes it sound like even more than full of lies? What a giant mess our government is. Right? First of all, the guy, Luis Bracamontes, did kill. He said, the Democrats let him stay. Both parties failed. Why is everybody bragging about, well, the Democrats didn't really do that? No, he had run-ins on numerous occasions, and he still continued to come here until he got to the point where he did end up killing not one, but two law enforcement deputies, and bragged about it, said he was going to kill more once he got out. And people are arguing whether or not, well, that's all a lie. It's not a lie. Did the Democrats let him in? No, both sides failed. But why are you fighting over failure? You're fighting over being less of a failure. That, to me, is ridiculous. Something I did agree with when Trump said this. I absolutely agreed with this. And people said, tweeting at me yesterday saying, you're a horrible human being. You're awful. You're as racist as him. And I'm like, you can't, because you're not having a conversation with me. You just want to say something horrible and then bounce. You don't want to debate anything.
Asylum is not a program for those living in poverty. There are billions of people in the world living at the poverty level. The United States cannot possibly absorb them all.
Yeah. We can't. We can't. We cannot absorb everybody. We cannot absorb the entire world because we need to have so much empathy that we should just all say, it's okay, everybody come here. We don't even take care of our own. Our vets? Not really. How about the homeless? You been to Los Angeles? You been to Orange County? You been to a few major metropolitan cities, mostly dominated by Democrats? Have you been there? Have you seen the giant epidemic of homelessness? They've got a typhoid outbreak in Los Angeles. We can't even take care of our own. I love how they fight over whether this is a good thing or a bad thing that these people are coming here, and some people on the left are cheering them on like you can do it because you're coming here and you're part of that resistance. Some of them are suing us already. They're not even in the country, and they've already started lawsuits. That's a howdy do. We got to figure something out. I don't like the rhetoric. I don't like the fear-mongering. But that's because we've got midterms coming up, and what happens in midterms? If you're the president, you're the sitting president, and your party's in power, usually you get served. Even if things are good. And right now, if you look at the economy, we added 250,000 jobs. Things seem to be motoring along pretty darn good. People seem to be happy. The economy's motoring. Durable goods are up. People are buying stuff. Yeah, you know what? It's interesting. People are happy. They're doing their thing. But it's not exciting them. So you have to find emotion. You fearmonger. Both sides fearmonger. So let's. I love how the media acts like, well, the left would never do anything like this. So shut up. Yes, they would. Everybody would. Because it's about keeping power and fiefdoms, right? This is my fiefdom here. I'm going to run this part because like a duke or a duchess or a lord, this is my area. And then you've got Trump. And they all want to keep their little fiefdoms happy. So what do they have to do? Whatever it is they need to do. So Trump's fear-mongering with this? Absolutely. And then the left is guilting people and saying if you vote for somebody with an R by their name, you're voting for Trump, which makes you a racist. Not running on any of their own ideas for all intents and purposes. That's frustrating. It is. Both sides do it. So what are we going to do? Nothing. Let me tell you what's going to happen. These people are going to get there. And Trump, I think he's going to set up 10 cities. That's what I think he's going to do. He's going to set up 10 cities, and he's going to say, well, you guys want to have asylum? We're going to go through this thing, but you guys aren't going to be allowed to be caught here and then released out into our system only to disappear. And he's saying it, and I'm telling you, people, they're hearing stuff, but I don't think they believe it.
The overwhelming majority of claims are rejected by the courts, but by that time, the alien has usually long since disappeared into our country.
Yeah. Somebody's like, don't lose focus. Everybody from the world is not coming here. That's being Trump. No, they're not. If they could, they would. According to the latest Pew Research poll from Central, South America, and Mexico, 40 million people would immigrate overnight if they had the possibility. Almost 250 million worldwide would come here if given the opportunity overnight. What do we do then? Look at what's going on in Yemen. You want to see real issues? Look at what's going on in Yemen. Well, it's not next door. If it was next door. I'm just saying, this is as much about the resistance to Trump as it is anything else. And it's going to get ugly. It is. But it's not going to solve anything. Because neither side still have put forth anything worth a damn to try to sort this out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Love hearing from you. MyPillow. Got my MyPillow. I'll be traveling this weekend, and I'm taking it with me because that's how I roll, and it will help me because I need sleep. I work a lot of hours, and I hate tossing and turning and turning and tossing. It drives me crazy, and not getting a good night's sleep and being groggy the next day. MyPillow helps with that. The minute last night, I got home relatively late, and literally within 15 minutes, brushing my teeth, took a shower, did all that stuff, I was out like a light. The minute my head hit the pillow, boom. That's what MyPillow will do for you. What are you waiting for? 10-year warranty right there, made in the USA, washable and dryable cotton, And right now you can BOGO. Buy one, get one free. 2 pillows for the price of one. 800-983-4975. Or go to mypillow.com. That's mypillow.com. Promo code Benson. They're going to give you the world's most comfortable pillow. You're going to absolutely love it. So you can buy one, get one free. It's perfect time for Christmas, right? You're going to buy one, keep it for yourself, and the one you got free, you give it away. It's a win-win for you. Merry Christmas to you. Buy one, get one free. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
On another episode of What I Said, What You Heard. Not once did I said at all that the entire world wants to come here. Not once. I did not say that. It's according to the Pew Research, there were between 30 and 40 million South Americans and Central Americans, including Mexico, would, if they could, immigrate overnight. Not the Chad Benson Research, Pew. And I think it was between 170 million and 250 million people worldwide at this moment would as well, on top of the others. So you're looking at anywhere between 225 million to 300 million people overnight, double the size of our world, if we could, if they could. I'm just saying, I did not say the whole world. Yes, you did. Okay. So I found this to be interesting, right? But it also shows you who we are and how amazing this country is. To be a 1%er. So the 1%, what does it take to be part of the 1%? They looked at it globally. Credit Suisse looked at it globally. If you have a net worth of about $850,000 globally, you are part of the 1%. Now, here's some interesting stuff. For those of you out there who have a net worth of $93,000 or more, globally, you are in the top 10% of the world. If you have a net worth of $4,200, you have a net worth that is 50% higher than the rest of the world. So think about that for just a moment. Just a smidge. Just take that in. Think about that for just a moment. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Speaking of resisting, anybody want ice cream?
Remember when politics stayed in its ugly little lane? Now it's all over the place. It's in sports. It's in movies. Your dessert. Look at the label. Ben & Jerry's Resistance, and like the Resistance, it contains nuts.
Nuts. That's right. They're going to resist as well, Ben & Jerry's little resist the ice cream.
Thanks to the left, keeping politics out of regular life is seen as complicit to evil. If you don't join our mad crusade, you're the problem too. Now, I bet this stuff tastes good, but who cares? The company says that by purchasing this glop, you'll be supporting, quote, groups who are fighting President Trump's regressive agenda. But they should add, while also adding to your deadly obesity.
Oh. Greg Gutfelder. That is funny, though. So Ben & Jerry's has a resist ice cream. Wonder what it tastes like. Here's my question. And I've been asking people this. And because the left is really nervous about Tuesday. Because they don't trust the potential of the polls being wrong again. They potentially could be wrong. They don't trust that. They don't trust. They don't. So what happens on Tuesday if we go through it? And, some of the races aren't going to be decided. There's going to be lawsuits and stuff like that. But let's just say the Republicans lose 18 seats and they still manage to keep. What? Or on the other side, what happens if the Republicans get destroyed, even in the Senate, and they lose everything? I don't know. But it's going to be fun to watch. And I have no look. I voted. I've got no skin in the game outside of that, and my business is to watch. But in just the theatrics of watching the way that people are going to react are going to be as interesting as the arguments between the politicians themselves going forward. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Love it when you tweet at me, Chad Benson Show TV. Check out the Facebook as well. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
It's our largest political party, the non-voters, sad to say.
So how do you encourage those? What is the message you give to the non-voters to get them out the door this coming Tuesday?
I don't think it works to, shame them or wag your finger at them. I think you should listen to them and find out why they're not voting.
Yeah, you should listen to them. The largest block is not only the non-voters, the independent voters. If you think about it, the Democrats and Republicans are 3 and 4. And there's a lot of people out there that just don't vote. It's okay not to vote. I think it's the most important civic duty you're going to do, singularly, is to vote. But it's okay. I get it. You don't pay attention? I don't want you to vote. You do pay attention and you hate everything you see? You got every right to say no. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. And for a lot of people out there, one of the things that skews in this, it's in this when he talks about this, is the fact that there are a lot of people out in places like California where you're a conservative and you vote you may vote in Prop 6 right now, the repeal of the gas tax, but by and large, you're not voting for most things if you go to the polls at all because you're destroyed. For every one of you, there's 8 or 10 and you got no chance. You know that. It's a deep blue state, right? New York's kind of the same thing. Minus a few little pockets here or there. Yeah, you got no chance. I mean, if you're a Republican in San Francisco, what are you voting for? I said I wanted to vote. Well, that's great. So there's some of that. But some of it is other than that, and Michael Moore's right.
I'm guessing most people that don't vote, that stay home, do it because they've given up. The system has failed them. They don't see any difference between the candidates. It's the same old hacks running. And so they stay home. But I'm going to guess that the majority of non-voters deeply love their country and are deeply patriotic. And it's got to be very hard for them, Seth, to stay home and not participate.
Well, I think there's a lot of people out there also just don't care. It's like they just don't care. They're not paying attention. You got a lot of young voters out there who talk a big game and they don't do anything. And it's not because they don't love their country. It's because, quite frankly, they just don't care. But there are some people out there that have given up. I agree 110%. Why vote? I'm sick and tired of this. It's the same old, same old. That's one of the reasons I think that really helped Trump, too, that's not helping him on this election cycle is Hillary was on the ballot, and there were a lot of people that said anybody but, right? Anybody but a Bush or a Clinton. And that helped. And there isn't one of those to vote against for Trump.
So what I say to them this year is there are so many people on the ballot this time that are not the party hacks. There's a woman running for Congress in West Virginia. She's a chicken farmer. There's a bus driver, I think it's in Kentucky, that's running. A librarian where I live that's running. There's a lunch lady that's running somewhere out in the Northwest that's running for office. I mean, normal people are running this time.
Yeah, normal people are running, and that's a good thing. I don't know if we always want normal people. Right. But I think it's good. That's part of the process. Doesn't mean that they deserve your vote or not, but the frustration's there. And the block of the exhausted majority, the alt middle. When I say the alt middle, people say middle is that's weak. It's not weak. It's the strongest place to be. And I'll tell you why. Because unlike other people who vote completely the same over and over and over again, you might as well send you your ballots for the next 40 years. I look at things. I may vote a few Democrats, a few Republicans. I may vote for some stuff and against some stuff. It takes a lot more cojones than just going, I'm going to vote this color or that color. And we're frustrated. We're pissed. Right now, I'm sitting here doing my show, and behind me, off the reflection, I could see yet again another political ad, which I can't wait till midnight, Tuesday into Wednesday, when these political ads will disappear for at least 12 hours before 2020 starts. But my frustration is, I still don't know half the candidates. Oh, I know who they are. I couldn't tell you much about them unless I have to dig deep into finding anything out. Why? Because the only thing I know is the other person says that they suck less than that person. That's not fun. We're frustrated. We're exhausted. But we're exhausted because we're sick of the arguing and never getting anything done. If this was a real business, we'd have gone out of business a long time ago.
Normal people are running this time. A lot of them are women. A lot of them are young people. I think if any non-voter is watching this, I say give it a shot just this one time. Show up just this one time. I think you'll be surprised by who's on the ballot.
But are they good? Just because they're a woman, or they're trans, or they're gay, or they're a person of color, or they're white and they're cisgendered, are they good? Let's also talk about competence. Everybody wants to, hey, let me tell you who this person is. No. Let's talk about competence, too. I want to know what they've done and what they're going to do. But this massive voter block, we're going to talk about how big. I mean, there is a lot of excitement, and we'll get the numbers in on Tuesday night. And I think the numbers are going to be up compared to, midterms over the past several years. I think they're going to be up. I do really believe that. In saying that, when you look at the numbers comparatively to 2016 or 2012 or 2008, they're going to be down. How big is this going to be? When you look and go, wow, an X amount of people voted, but there was still 40% that didn't vote. That is massive. How do we get those people to the polls? Well, a lot of reasons. Again, some of them have just flat given up because they're frustrated. Some of them are frustrated because they live in an area where they know that their vote really isn't going to matter because they're so outnumbered that it's just a waste of their time, which is sad, right? In other places, they just don't care, not because they don't love their country, because they're doing other things. They're young. They don't pay any attention. It doesn't really bother them or affect their lives either way. It's the last thing they'd want to do. Yeah. That's the reality. And some are really people who are frustrated and given up on the process, even if their vote would matter, because they're just sick and tired of it. And they feel like, I'm going to go vote for this person, and that person's going to go in there, and then the fighting's going to begin, and then the frustration's going to begin, and then nothing's going to get done, and then they're going to ask me to give them their vote again, and this is where we're going to be, and then they're going to ask me for money, and blah, 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 blah. Oh, I get it. I get it. I'm frustrated too. Big time, big time, big time. And this is, those independents. What's going to swing this on Tuesday nights? This Tuesday night, and every Tuesday nights, there's votes. Big votes, midterms, president. What swings it are those people who are part of that alt middle, who can go from one side to the other. Trans voters. Voter fluidity. Ooh, Phil, write that down. Voter fluidity. People who can say, you know what, I think I'm going to go this way. You know what, I think I'm going to do that. Those people matter most. And what do we have coming on right now? We got all kinds of stuff happening. The fight, the screaming, the yelling, the fear-mongering. What do independents think of what's going on right now with those kind of things? How are they taking? I've talked to a few independents who are, who agree somewhat with Trump, hate the tactics, and it's a massive turnoff.
What is happening is wrong. It's repelling people. It's polarizing people. I think that this kind of heated rhetoric isn't going to win election because I live out here in a congressional district that is usually won overwhelmingly by Republicans that a Republican won razor thin in a special election. What you're losing with this kind of rhetoric is you're losing Republican suburban women. You're losing young people. You're losing independents because people don't want to hear this kind of talk out of our president.
No, it's not going to help him. It isn't. But for some people, and see, the thing is, I think he looks like he's like, what's the base going to do? Can I get the base excited so they get out there? Can I get that base energized enough to get out there and to make a difference? And how do you do that? Well, right now, he's using the invasion. He's also put himself on the ballot. He goes out to these rallies, and it is 5 minutes of who he came to see, and it is an hour of him because he knows the importance of this. But is that winning anybody over? And with the amount of people who aren't going to vote on Tuesday, think about all those votes that are sitting out there for whatever reason. For whatever reason it is. And there's plenty of them out there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love to hear from you. AMAC. Are you over the age of 50? Yes. Why not join AMAC? It's free. The benefits are amazing. Politically, they believe a lot of what you believe in. Absolutely. Right? They're not this, they're conservative alternatives to the ARP. They're not that way left over there, wanting socialized medicine and helping write Obamacare and things like that. No. They want Social Security reform. They want a lot of the things that you want. And on top of that, the benefits. The benefits are so incredible. Things like retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, travel discounts. How about 40% off movie tickets, up to 40% off theme parks, things of that nature that are awesome. It is really, really incredible, the amount of benefits you get with this. And here's the thing that's great. It's not going to cost you a penny. Not one penny. A free membership for 1 year. They don't even want your credit card. Go to amac.us/Chad. That's amac.us/Chad. You're going to love it. What they're going to do for you is incredible. And here's the thing. Let's just say for the sake of argument, you've been with ARP for a while. You're looking at Medicare, open enrollments right here. You're wondering what to do. They've partnered with Senior Resource Network, and they're going to get you somebody that's going to help you, a dedicated agent, walk through the entire step. So what are you waiting for? Join now. They don't want your credit card. It's amac.us/Chad. Free 1 year membership. amac.us/Chad. AMAC is better for you, better for America. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Fast food giant Kentucky Fried Chicken is asking fans to name their baby after its founder, and they'll pay you $11,000 to do it. The Name Your Baby Harlan contest has two requirements. You must name your baby Harlan after KFC's Colonel Harlan Sanders, and the baby must be the first Harlan born in America on September 9th. Why that day? It's the founder's birthday. And if you're wondering why $11,000, that's for Kentucky Fried Chicken's 11 herbs and spices.
So somebody got that. Somebody named their kid Harlan. I would have. Right? Like, how cool is that? So the baby gets I guess $11,000. It's a little girl. God, that's solid. $11,000 tuition. To what? What's $11,000 worth? What's that get you nowadays? Is that JC? Get you Harley Rose. I like that. That sounds good. September 9th, 8 pounds, 1 ounces. Anna Pilson and Decker Platt of South Pines, North Carolina. They're like, we was going to name that baby Harlan anyways, and now we done did it. Actually, they showed a picture of them. That I apologize. It's a good-looking young couple. They look hip and cool. That's a cool name, though. Harlan. Harley. I like that. Solid. For $11,000, would you? Hell yeah, I would. Hell yeah. Hell to the yeah. You know, we talk about all these things that we should worry about in this country, these epidemics and the invasion that's happening and all of this stuff that's going on and the fear-mongering. What we really need to fear-monger against is this.
About 1 in every 5 burn injuries to children is due to microwave prepackaged hot soups and noodles. The new research will be presented at the American Academy of Pediatrics National Conference next week. Initial data showing that the peak age for injury due to instant soup, 7. 40% of burns are to a child's torso. 57% of the children hurt by soup and noodles are girls. One of the authors of the study, Dr. Courtney Allen, says the research shows caregivers need to closely supervise younger children who may otherwise get hurt if cooking by themselves.
Yeah, that's real. That's stuff that happens. Do you understand that? Does everybody get that? That's real. Those things happen. Oh, God. I've been burnt by soup a couple times. Not that bad, though. That's like where you have to go to the hospital. And microwaves, I don't know about you, Producer Phil, but, man, microwaves are always a crapshoot. You put it in for a minute, it's scalding hot. You put it in another microwave for 3 minutes, and it's still lukewarm.
Yeah, it is hit or miss.
Yeah, it is. It is crapshoot. Speaking of something that was hot.
Convicted killer Edmund Zagorski was strapped into the electric chair, sponges with saline solution placed around his ankles. After exchanging a few waves and smiles with family members and his attorneys, Zagorski's last words, "Let's rock." A shroud was placed over his head before he was hit with 2 shocks of electricity. Nicole Young, editor with the Robertson County Times, witnessed the execution.
His hands flexed into fists. He stiffened, raised up a little bit during the first jolt.
It's the first execution by electrocution in Tennessee in more than a decade.
Crazy. Now, over the weekend, so my little sister, she got these like electrodes that you can put on your back that stimulate, they're working your muscles and stuff.
Oh, I love those.
And those, dude, it was a trip. So it goes up to 10. And she couldn't get it past like 2 or 3. She put it on my mom, and my mom's like, "Oh, God, stop." So I got up to 6, and it was a trip, dude. I'm like, I feel like this must be what, like, 10 must feel like what it is when you get tased. Because it makes you go, It was a weird thing, and it was a trip. And so the electric chair, though, like somebody went old school on that. Who's the others? There's a couple states that still have those, right? Like Texas is that they're screaming. But is Utah still the one? I think Utah still has hanging and shooting, right?
Yeah, I know Utah has shooting.
Yeah, that's right. Utah has shooting.
I think Delaware still has hanging as well.
Oh, good. See, there you go. There you go. What's going to be your last meal? That's always the big thing. Are you going to go to Harland? Maybe some soup? Oh, man, this guy, let's rock, like he's all badass. You're dead, dude. You're dead. You're a bad person, and you got everything you deserved. But he got to choose that. So, at least, probably because he's heard all the troubles that they've had with the trying to put people to sleep thing that doesn't really go the way it's supposed to go. And so he's like, just let's do this right? Let's do this right. Let's not screw this thing up. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I'm excited for football this weekend. Unlike last night. Last night, the NFL wants to worry about the kneeling, and there was kneeling at the anthem last night, but it was the cheerleaders. And if you are worried about why people don't want to watch your product, don't roll out 1-7 versus 1-7 on a Thursday night. Don't do that. But this weekend, you've got you guys taking on Atlanta out there in Washington. You've got the Patriots taking on Green Bay, so Brady and what's his name, Aaron Rodgers, and then you got the other great game, which is the Rams and the Pats. Not the Pats, but the Saints. It's a great weekend for football. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's The Chad Benson Show.
October's job report is much better than expected. The economy added 250,000 jobs in October, a rebound from what we saw in September. This was better than economists expected. The unemployment rate is unchanged at 3.7%.
Jobs, 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 economy, jobs, 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 economy, jobs, jobs, jobs. Tuesday is the midterms, and the Republicans have ignored the opportunity to talk about jobs, to talk about the economy, to talk about any of the things that you think you would talk about. And the reason is simple. There is no emotion. While we appreciate it, right? We blame you if the economy is going to hell, and usually because you have a real issue, because the government gets involved in a way in the economy, whether it's restrictions or overregulation or overtaxation or whatever it is that slows the economy down, or bad, just the usual bad governing of the way that things are done. But the reality is when you get out of the way, it's the American people that are the ones who are doing these things. So there's no emotion there. Where is there emotion, kids?
Anybody throwing stones, rocks, like they did to Mexico and the Mexican military, Mexican police, where they badly hurt police and soldiers of Mexico, we will consider that a firearm because there's not much difference. We will consider that the maximum that we can consider that because they're throwing rocks viciously and violently, really hurting the military. We're not going to put up with that. They want to throw rocks at our military fights back. We're going to consider it. I told them, consider it a rifle. When they throw rocks like they did at the Mexico military and police, I say, consider it a rifle.
Asinine and stupid to say. I'm going to say that right now. Stupid. Stupid thing to say. Ridiculous. Emotions. Emotions are going to get you to the polls. Desperation is what they're looking for. I don't know what Tuesday is going to look like. I don't. Florida's a tight race here and there, and they look around, and I don't know. But then you look at the ballots mailed back. The polls might be there, but the ballots, there's a huge difference in ballots. Arizona, the same way. But the House is the thing that everybody's looking at, right? Are they going to lose 30? Are they going to lose 40? Are they going to lose 20? Right? I think if they lose 20, they're still, hey, look at this. We lost 20. I think they've lose 23 or 24. And they would be okay. I don't know what it's going to look like. But what I do know is the American people look at the economy and think to themselves, we're going to blame you if it's going to hell in a handbasket. And we can look at Trump and say it's on fire, and some of that is your doing. And the reason it's your doing is because your taxes, it was only going to the 1%. Yeah. Look, I would have liked to seen a few different things in there, but the reality is the tax cuts helped. Deregulations, and we over-regulated things. We're now trying to get back to some balance and normalcy with regulation. So that's getting out of the way, which needed to be done, which set the economy on its way. But it's not going to get people to the polls. It's not. Now, I would have run on, for me, look how great it's doing. If we're trying to evoke emotion, let's flash forward 2 years, and the Dems are basically stonewalling us at every move, much like the Republicans did to Obama. And at that point in time, the economy's taken a dumper. The stock market's in the dumper. You guys, they've tried to just come after everything, and they've done this entire thing and made the entire thing just untenable here. Do you want that? But that's not enough. So what do? Those people that are coming. They're all evil. They're all bad. No, that's not true. Most of them are decent people who are just looking for an opportunity out of desperation. Are all of them coming here because they need asylum because they're afraid they're going to get murdered? No, they're not. Are all of them mothers and children? No, they're not. In fact, if you look at the data, it's probably 60, 40, 70, 30, depending on who you're looking at. which whoever's coming out the data. So just to say that they're all mothers and not monsters is, that right there is the way that they're pointing things out to you on the establishment media. It's like, hey, everybody coming here is just a mom. It's like, slow your roll there. Slow. I have eyes too, right? Even if I don't know what the statistical data is, and I'm just taking a quick whip around with my eyes in the people that I see a lot of 18 to 30-year-old males that, unless they're identifying as mothers, and maybe that's how they're rolling with this one, that maybe, just maybe, not everybody's a single mom coming here. But are they all criminals? No. But it's about evoking emotion, right? And that's exactly what this is about. And Trump came out yesterday. His whole thing is, look, asylum. Hey, there's some things asylum are for. And guess what? One of them's not.
Asylum is not a program for those living in poverty. There are billions of people in the world living at the poverty level. The United States cannot possibly absorb them all.
No, we can't. And you know what's so frustrating as I sit here and I watch this thing break down? I look around and I say, the left's out there saying, how these people they should be, we should cheer them on. We should be all of these things. And it's amazing to watch the media just fawn over all of these people. And I can have empathy for these people. I'm not a disgusting, vile human being. And I'm the one sitting here saying they're not all criminals. And a lot of this rhetoric that he's spewing out there is just to evoke emotion out of you. But here's what I can tell everybody on the left. It's still wrong that you have a caravan of 1,700 to 4,000 or 5,000 with a few more caravans behind it, numbering from 500 to another 1,000 coming this way. And you act like it's no big deal. Well, as an American citizen and as a taxpayer, I find this to be ridiculous, especially when you look around the country and you find out that we can't even take care of in big cities, places like Los Angeles and Orange County, California, where you have hundreds and thousands of homeless people to the tune of about 35,000 plus in LA County. God knows how many in Orange County. And then you can look elsewhere. I'm just picking two very decently sized metropolitan areas that we can't even sort out. And you ignore these things as the dirty little secret, all the while saying, you can do it because you want Trump to look bad. It's ridiculous. It is. Look, as a person here who understands that we are a nation of immigrants, we also have a nation of laws. While I don't like the rhetoric of let's treat that as those rocks as rifles is absolutely asinine and irresponsible to say, can we not all agree that, hey, we just can't have, 5,000 people just wander on up? I was talking to somebody last night who got very angry. He's tweeting at me. He's getting very angry over the fact that, well, what about Cubans? And I'm like, look, let's deal with the real and the now, right? Cuba, there was a reason, right? Communist nations, there was a reason that we were doing what we're doing. And by the way, Obama ended wet foot, dry foot, right? So let's not talk about that, right? Let's talk, well, it's the brown people. You're afraid of the brown people and you're afraid of anybody of color and white people. And I'm just like, let's not make this about race. Let's make this about right or wrong. If there was 5,000 Canadians coming here like this, I would ask the question the same way. Is this right? No, it's not. It's not. It's not right. At some point in time, somebody's got to stand up and say, all right, here's the deal. This isn't right. Right? This is not good. And to just, we've got to be adults in the room and say, all right. You know what? Yeah, maybe, just maybe both sides can go, we should not allow this to happen. We should not. Do I want a tent city? Because I think that's what we're going to be getting. We're going to be getting tent cities. Are you guys ready for that? Because this whole thing about asylum and what he's serious about this, by the way. He's serious. And anything that anybody should know about Trump, when he sets his mind to something, this is exactly what he's serious about doing, ending asylum. They've already started to sue. This is the other thing that pisses people off, and I don't think people understand this. People that are not in the country already are already suing our country because they want the opportunity to apply for asylum, which is fine. apply for asylum. But how do we go about vetting all of these things? How do we know for sure? There's a lot of questions. But seeing the caravan come here and both sides yell at each other over the caravan as if they're playing tennis, all the while the caravan is moving here and nobody seems to want to do a damn thing.
My administration is finalizing a plan to end the rampant abuse of our asylum system. It's abused to halt the dangerous influx and to establish control over America's sovereign borders. We've got borders. And once that control is set and standardized and made very strong, including the building of the wall, which we've already started. $1.6 billion spent last year, $1.6 billion this year. We have another $1.6 that will be coming, but we want to build it at one time. All it does is turn people in a different direction. Under this plan, the illegal aliens will no longer get a free pass into our country.
He's serious. And I think people, it's funny. People keep testing him when it comes to this stuff. Is he serious? Oh, he's serious. He's serious as a heart attack. He is. But how about the left and the right stand up for a second and say, look, you know what, we can have empathy too, but there's also a right way to do things. And if we're just going to, what if one day everybody in Honduras, some God knows how many people said, we're just deciding we're going to come here and we all want asylum because of how bad it is here. Where does it end is my question. And how do we do it right? Nobody seems to have any idea. I don't agree with the way that Trump handles things at times, and I think the rocks versus rifles thing is absolutely ridiculous and a dumbass thing to say. But I don't see anybody else taking anything on and any responsibility in any of this. And that's the joke. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Love to hear from you. I will tell you guys this right now. Christmas, I'm looking. We are in the, let's see here. This is the, what date is this here? 2nd. What are you doing for Christmas? What are you doing for food? There's somebody out there in your life that loves meat. And this is what you're going to do. Butcherbox.com. This is what you're going to do. It is incredible. It is amazing. I had pork chops last night. When I talked about this before, people are like, pork chops are horrible, Chad, because you got to have, applesauce and stuff. Not the way they do it. They're pork from pigs raised to keep all their fat and flavor. That is the way it's supposed to be. It was the most amazing pork chops I've ever had in my life. You don't need to add anything. That's how incredible it is. So what is ButcherBox? Grass-fed, grass-finished is their beef. Chickens, organic, free range, right? It is the most incredible food you've ever. The meat is just insane. Less than $6 a meal. That's right. Cuts that you're not going to find anywhere else. Like Sam from the Brady Bunch wishes his cuts were this good. That's how amazing. The food's great. I almost feel like they should put a backstory with all the meat you're eating. Like this was Tim. He was a great piece of beef. He lived a happy life. He was grass-fed. And then eventually we get to eat him. You're like, oh, well, that's nice. So how do you join, you say? Simple. Go to butcherbox.com/Chad. You're going to get $20 off. Plus, get this. For the entire subscription, for the length of it that you choose, free bacon. And the bacon's incredible, and it's not that expensive, people. I'm telling you. Butcherbox.com/Chad. Butcherbox.com/Chad. $20 off. Bacon for the lifetime subscription that you get this, and you are going to love it, and so is your belly. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
While pointless pundits ponder what was, Chad wisely wonders, what's next?
49% of registered voters in a new ABC News Washington Post poll think that President Trump is encouraging politically motivated violence in the U.S. in the way he speaks. But essentially just as many, 47%, say the media are doing the same in the way they report the news. Just 2 in 10 Americans say the president is acting in a way to discourage violence. 69% of people surveyed said reducing the country's divisions is a highly important issue in their vote for Congress next week.
Yeah, it's interesting. Look, I don't think Trump does too much to unite the country. I'll be real. And I think part of it's because he gives up. He said, you know what, half the country doesn't like me. I'm going to do what I do. So whatever, it is what it is. And the media likes it because that's where eyeballs are. And then you've got social media. And I heard this today that is insane. So I'm getting a couple iced teas, and there's a couple millennial age girls in front of me, women, whatever. And they had like a TV on, and it's on mute, and there's Trump at a rally. And the two girls in front of me says that everybody at that rally is racist, right? I'm like, okay. And they said, you know what they should start doing is if you're at a Trump rally, they should be able to out you, and they should be able to fire you from your job. They think that way. And I thought to myself, sweet mamma jamma. Are you kidding? Do you have any idea what kind of authoritarian tyranny you want to put us under? If the whole thought process is, if you don't believe what I believe, you shouldn't be allowed to have a job? Are you insane? Are you nuts? Right? Wait, what? I was like, oh, I couldn't. And people think that way. You know what the left is doing right now? And this is real. And the media is helping them with this. If you vote for Trump, what you're saying is you're racist. We can't beat you because the job numbers are fantastic, right? He's done a lot of what he said he's going to do. There's a lot still to do. Absolutely. I agree 110%, and a lot they've failed at doing. But when I watch them and when I hear people talk, it used to be they suck. Now it's they suck. And by the way, if you vote for them, you're a racist too. It's almost a guilt, a shaming. I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. This is just a joke. Remember, independents, us, largest voting bloc in the country, yet we're ignored. We're absolutely ignored, and that is a joke. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Mark Hamrick is going to join us next. Bankrate.com, the guy with the dulcet tones. He should be a movie trailer voiceover guy, but instead he went into finance. He's going to join us, talk about the job numbers. We're going to talk about what impact the hurricane had, where we're heading in the fourth quarter. How good are these numbers really in the overall scheme of things? A lot of stuff to get to. He joins us straight ahead. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
250,000 jobs added in the month of October. The unemployment rate remains steady at 3.7%. That is the lowest level since 1969. And the biggest thing in this report that analysts like is the wage growth. 3.1% wage growth in hourly earnings over the last year. That's the best wage growth since before the recession began.
What? Lots of numbers, lots of things, lots of implications. Who, what, where, when, and why. Joining us now from Bankrate.com, the one, the only, the man with the golden voice, Mark Hamrick. And that is a huge surprise. 250,000. That's something for the president to tout. Am I correct?
Well, I think absolutely. When you see good economic numbers and you are the president of the United States, you will take the credit. And, they have this story in their favor today.
So let's talk about the jobs. 250,000, 3.7% unemployment. The job numbers look good. And this is, how did the hurricane factor into any of this? And could it potentially have been better without the impact of those two back to back?
No, I think that we know what the trend is, and that is that the job market's doing very well, creating more jobs than is needed to accommodate growth in the workforce. There has been some distortion in recent months, which I wouldn't want to get too focused on, that have to do not only with the disturbances we've had in the last few months, but also the year ago being weak with wage gains could have made the year-over-year piece with average hourly earnings look a little better. But I think that the bottom line is that we're seeing seeing an array of data points that all point to rising wages. We had the quarterly employment cost index data earlier in the week basically said the same thing. So I think that we're actually quite impressive right now. Probably going to end the year with a rate of growth of 3% for the full year, and when you had thought that the trend was 1.8% to 2% for quite some time, that means that you're basically above the trend, at least for 2018, probably 2019 as well.
That's a win. That's a win for the American people. I mean, let's take out politics alone. And I said this earlier today. You know, we, as you know, Mark, if the economy's going to hell, we look at you and say, "Hey, people up there, you guys are doing something, or you're not doing something that's getting in our way. That's causing this." And the facts are that the American people, it's about them when these things go well, because it's about entrepreneurs and people that are going out there and they're adding jobs and they're growing their business. And I think we miss that a lot. Like when I look at this, like what sectors are taking off, and how is the entrepreneurship, and people starting the business, how is that playing into any of this?
Yeah, good questions. There's a lot there. First of all, in terms of sectors, basically every sector participated in this particular month, so there really wasn't a problem child sector in this report. I would say, though, that we hear from small businesses that they are particularly strapped when it comes to finding well-qualified workers. So the National Federation for Independent Business, which is a leading trade group, chimed in with that within the last month, saying that their small businesses, 4 out of 10 of them, were saying that they had job openings that they couldn't fill in a particular month. So there's not all upside in the sense of what business views in a tight job market, but for workers, clearly that's the case.
Wow, that's crazy. That's good, though, for if you're somebody looking for a gig, right, Mark, and this market is as tight as it is, you kind of have your choice. Is that one of the reasons that maybe why you're seeing wages jump?
Well, no, I think, number one, this is 9 years into the economic expansion, and so if you were a baseball player in a slump and finally hit a home run, you don't say, look at my batting record over time. So, you say, hey, here recently I've been doing pretty well. And that's really what we're talking about with these wage gains. In terms of workers who are looking, absolutely, now's a good time to be looking. You need to, be qualified for the jobs that you're hoping to get, and you need to be in the right place for that. And that is one of the issues that we have, where we know that many areas across the country have not participated in the economic expansion, and we're really talking about a decade or longer where that has been the case. And so, we are hoping to lift more boats, but, Chad, we just had a survey that we released at Bankrate, asked people how their personal finances were faring over the past 2 years, and 62% said that their personal finances were the same or worse, and 4 out of 10 said they were better. So I don't want everybody to get the idea that when we're talking about a 3.7% unemployment rate, or basically a string of monthly job numbers on average that have looked solid, that we're saying, hey, everybody out there, you're doing well, because we know there are plenty of people out there who are not. We're just hoping longer term that more people can participate.
Talking to Mark Hamrick from Bankrate.com as we talk the numbers. What parts of the country are suffering still or haven't seen any of that? And I always look at it, I've always said this, Mark, sometimes I can look at these people who are trying to come here from different countries looking for jobs, and there are people that won't move out of the state to go to another state to find something different, and that drives me crazy. You said there's still places in this country where, they've not really been able to participate. Where is that?
Well, for the first, and by the way, to get to the issue of moving, it's absolutely, you're right, there is opportunity if you can move. The reality is that some people feel like they don't even have the resources to be able to afford that. But, you can basically go to small and medium-sized or not quite medium-sized communities all across the country that don't tend to be close in to large cities and see where their economies have been stagnant for many years. Appalachia, a great case in point. Obviously, that's why the president's been able to appeal to Appalachia to say, hey, we're going to bring coal back, although there isn't an indication that that's actually happening. The Midwest, much of the Midwest has not participated in the years-long economic expansion. Some of the upper Midwest, the same. And even rural communities in California. You can go on a drive, an hour and a half outside of L.A., and it starts to look a little sketchy out there. So, for the most part, if we talk about cities as a whole and not each and every single neighborhood, the major cities do well. Some of the mid-sized cities like Austin, Charlotte, Nashville, Seattle, that they're really doing great. And I'm fortunate to live in the Washington D.C. area. For the most part, it's doing great. Same for the New York City area, although the real estate market there does seem to be cooling quickly, and same for California. So, this is the challenge essentially for national policy: is can we lift more boats?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very interesting to see that when you talk about that, because we think everybody does, but then we see Silicon Valley, we see L.A., New York, and where a good majority of the country lives in some of these big cities, and there's a lot outside there. I will say this: having grown up in California, you drive an hour and a half. You drive in L.A. or drive an hour and a half. There's a lot of places that are sketchy, and it's always been that way, even when I was a kid. Mark,
sure,
talking to Mark Hamrick from BakeRate.com. So let's flash forward. Here it is. It's November 2nd. Halloween's behind us. We've got Thanksgiving and Christmas time. What's the fourth quarter going to look like? And are we going to see retailers this year with smiles on their faces that maybe they haven't had really in a while?
Well, retail is a very big part of the economy, and so if you're Sears, you're probably depressed. If you are the Apple Store, you're probably cheering the recent product releases, and if you're a retailer that is sort of on the right side of trends and where the consumer wants to be, much the same. Retailers are expected to add about 700,000 jobs here for the holiday season. That's pretty consistent with what we've seen in the past. I think consumers are prepared to spend, but I will say this. At Bankrate, given the fact that a good part of the American population is living paycheck to paycheck, we really do try to urge people to live beneath their means, not at their means or above it, for among other reasons, so they don't go into the new year and have a debt hangover that's because of everything that was put on the credit card.
Oh, absolutely. Durable goods is one of those things. People don't understand what durable goods are. Explain it to everybody and why it's so important when it comes to the confidence of an economy.
Well, durable goods are those things that are expected to last 3 or more years, and that's everything from a refrigerator to an automobile. To some degree, you could throw airplanes in there. So we're really talking about things that are major purchases, not the sort of ephemeral purchases that we make that might be services such as a Netflix subscription or even something like groceries, which we all need. So to the degree that you see durable goods purchases doing well, suggests that at some level consumers have confidence. We know they have plenty of that right now, but also that they have at some level the means to pay for those things. And obviously, to the extent that they are at least meant to be long-lasting, although my dishwashers never seem to last more than 2 years, and that's another issue. You hope that people have some confidence and have the ability to pay and afford those things.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I don't think and to me, I look at something like that and I think, because confidence is so vitally important. I think when we look at all these numbers, and you know this better than anybody, Mark, when you look at all these numbers and those things, they matter and they tell a story, but the story is, do people believe the story, and are they believing confident enough to go spend stuff? You buy a house, what do you want to do? You want to furnish the house with the refrigerator and the couch and all of these things, and that's where a lot of that importance comes in, is that confidence in the economy that it's going to last.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say that the other part of that is that we really do urge people to try to make financial hay while the sun shines, financially speaking. And that means that, at the time of your utmost confidence, that's really when you should also be thinking about making sure that you save for retirement, save for emergencies and that rainy day. And if you have a child that you think would probably have secondary education, college or university, be saving for that. Because the reason we want to have a substantial savings is because there is the risk of unemployment when the economy turns down. And so this is in some ways the worst time to go on a spending spree. I know retailers and consumer goods manufacturers, et cetera, all hope that indeed we do that. But that's probably one of the premises that I'm not a fan of in our society, where, we tend to go overboard on purchases, where we really would be better off going overboard is making sure our retirements are well funded.
It's funny you talk about that. Like, people think, oh, well, the economy's doing great. But then you talk about some of these numbers and you say, a lot of people out there can't afford things. But how much of that is also on people because they always seem to live at their means or above their means, keeping up with the Joneses rather than living below their means. Yeah. And a lot of that's on us more than it is anything else.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. We need to own that, right? And so that gets to something that's very serious, and that is if you look at industrialized countries across the world, there are indications that America is basically in the middle when it comes to financial literacy. So some people will say that starts at the home, but it also probably needs to have a more substantial aspect of the way we educate people. So to the extent that, we understand how the economy works, so we understand that there is a connection between decisions political leaders at all levels of government make and the way that, let's say, tax revenues are doled out or collected, and how all these budgets are managed or not. And then, of course, as you say, for us to own our personal finances, because, people like Warren Buffett, who are among the most financially successful individuals out there, don't spend every penny. He lives in the same house now that he's lived in for many years, and, is famous for not only as an investor in Dairy Queen, but, he's not eating steak dinners for lunch all the time. He's occasionally going out and having his much loved Coca-Cola and Dairy Queen hamburger. So, living beneath your means, I think there's a lot to be said for that. And I've never known anyone who was approaching retirement age who said, you know what, I really messed up. I saved too much money for retirement.
Yeah, you'll never hear those words, especially here in America. Mark Hamrick, BakerRate.com. As always, my man, thanks so much for coming on, and we'll talk to you next month. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Always great to be with you, Chad. Thanks so much. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Darn, that climate change. Batten down the hatches. It's Topical Storm Chad, headed your way.
Movies this weekend. I wanted to go see it last night. I worked so much. I didn't have a chance. I did literally like 7-8 hours radio yesterday. I was exhausted. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go see it here in the next couple days. I'm excited. I've been excited since the first time they started talking about doing this. But then Sacha Baron Cohen bowed out. Rami Malek then took over. And it is released. It should win the weekend. And come on, man. Who doesn't love Queen?
No one will play us on the radio. We need to get experimental.
Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening me.
Do it again. One more.
How many more Galileos do you want?
Mark these words. No one will play Queen.
Ready, Freddie?
Let's do it.
It is awesome. And Rami Malek really, like, he does it up. And I'm excited. It's about his performance. This is about Queen, not as much as about Freddie. And that's why Sacha Baron Cohen, of course, is Ali G and Borat and all these things. That's why he didn't want to do it, because he wanted this to be about a lot of the debauchery and the craziness and eventually the illness of Freddie. And this is more about Queen than anything else. And if you think about it for just a second, listen to those those songs, and think about what we have today and what they had back then. The technology that they used to create literally operatic albums, and having a man whose voice was so different and so powerful that not even Pavarotti had the range that he had. That's insane. That is insane. And here's something else, Phil, and I don't know if you know this. Do you know they're the only band that all four in the band wrote number one hits?
I did not know that.
And from 1950 to 2000, from 55 to 2005, the number one selling band of all time. More than the Beatles. Yeah, more than the Beatles. People didn't realize that. And they call them the most educated band because all four of them had degrees. That's insane. They were insane. And Freddie was. I went on this morning and I watched what they call the 21 greatest minutes in rock and roll history. And I was watching the Live Aid performance. And the entire time I'm watching, I think, Freddie thinks this is really all about him. He does. He thinks this entire concerts thing was that they were there. Yeah, it was Live Aid. It was for a good cause. But he really was like, yeah, it's kind of about me. And he rocked it. He did. It is great. So that should win the weekend. Should do about $40 million. And we'll see. We'll see what what people are saying, because a lot of people are upset that they just felt like the way they portrayed Freddie was a lot of the issues they had was all Freddie's fault, and everybody else was kind of like, oh, we're better than him. So we'll see. But I'm still going to go see it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Join us. Virtual private network. That's what it is. VPN. ExpressVPN is who you should choose. And you're thinking to yourself, what is that? All right. Well, first of all, you can hide your IP address and location. You can encrypt your communications. You can watch your favorite content. And ExpressVPN gives you that high speeds possible with unlimited bandwidth. What is it? It's just amazing. That's what it is. You want to protect yourself as a just in case. That's what VPNs do for you. You don't want to be tracked. You want to be public out there doing something, but have a behind you, know that your information is protected in a way you could not believe. This is what VPNs can give you. ExpressVPN, easy to use app. They run seamlessly in the background of your computer. Protect you, only takes one click, secures and anonymizes your internet browsing, encrypts your data. You get where I'm going with this? Here's the great thing. Less than $7 a month. #1 rated VPN service by Tech Radar. 30-day money-back guarantee. And right now, with a year package, again, it's $7 a month. You get 3 months free. ExpressVPN.com/Benson, EXPRESS, VPN.com/Benson. 3 months free with a year package. Visit ExpressVPN.com/Benson. You're going to love it, and you're going to thank me, but really you need to thank them. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter, ChadBenson. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show.